If you're traveling to Europe, these are the apps I recommend that you should have. Welcome back to this Trini Will Travel. I'm Keisha, Trini, currently living in Milan. If you're interested in travel and travel related content, especially from a Caribbean perspective, go ahead and subscribe. Okay. You've done your research and you've realized that things are a little different in Europe. A few things being, especially, there will be a lot of walking. Your steps will be above 10,000 per day. I just lost about 5 pounds over the last 3 weeks. Well, maybe more. And I was in Italy eating pasta, pizza, carbs, focaccia every single day, and I still lost about like 5 to 8 pounds. So a lot of these apps will be like travel or logistics related. But anyway, all this chit chat, these are the apps I recommend that you have for traveling in Europe. One of the first apps that I recommend, of course, it is Google Maps. Now, you need to navigate to know where you're going, how long it will take, how long is the walk. A tip that I recommend to do is, depending on your data situation, depending on your access to Wi-Fi, what I recommend to do is download the offline maps. When you go into Google Maps, you can mark off a particular area and download that map so you have access to it offline. So you know, sometimes when you don't have data and you search a location in Google Maps, it says it's not connected to data. Once you download that area offline, the only thing that would not be up to date is the real-time traffic updates, but you will still get the general sense of how to get to the location, walking, traveling, driving, etc. The next app I recommend that you have is Google Translate. If you're in Europe, more than likely you don't speak the language of the area that you're in. And if you're reading, if you go to the grocery, if you're trying to read a menu, if you're trying to read a sign, Google Translate comes in handy, especially the camera feature. So you can take a picture or you can use the camera and automatically translate any text that you don't understand. So Google Translate will be your best friend. In terms of moving around, you are going to be walking a lot. However, sometimes if you're late, if you want to get somewhere quickly, the app you may know to get a taxi is Uber. Now, especially for Italy, there are a lot of places that you do not have access to Uber. The app that is commonly used here is called Free Now. That is the app to be able to book taxis. If you're from the US or the UK, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you would like hail a taxi. Here, you cannot hail taxis in the road, although they are free. You need to call the service to book the taxi, or you need to be at the specific designated taxi stand, but those are usually around like travel areas. So the main central stations around by the airports, those are the areas that may have like designated taxi stands. Otherwise, you kind of need to call them. Again, on the topic of transportation, I recommend Omio and Trainline. So for Omio, it shows you, let's say I'm in Italy, I'm in Milan, and I want to get to Rome. Instead of downloading all the different apps for the different train lines, it shows you all the routes you can get to your particular destination. So even let's say if I'm in Milan and I want to get to France, it shows me the routes available by train, by bus, also by flights or by ferry if necessary. It shows me all of my options, and I can also book within that platform. For Trainline, it's specifically dedicated to trains, but yeah, you see your travel options among the different train lines, and you can book it within the app and have access to your tickets within the app. And I'm currently a part of the Omio affiliate program. So if it's your first time booking from Omio, use the code below to get 10% off your booking. For my first year here, all of my train journeys, I booked them using Omio. So going to Turin, Genova, Lake Como, like all of the destinations I visited within my first year, I booked them using Omio. The next app that I recommend also relates to logistics in terms of moving around is City Mapper or Move It. This shows you the transits options in real time. So for Google Maps, they do show you, okay, if you need to take a tram, if you need to take a bus, but in terms of actually looking at the schedule, where I need to be, what are my options, I use City Mapper and Move It. Both these apps, so I use both these apps in Italy, I used it in London, and I also used it in Belgium, and it came in pretty handy. If you're not driving, or like you don't want to walk, so say it's a half-hour walk and you're like, no, I want to use the public transportation. It shows you all these stops. It counts down how many stops you need to take if you need to switch transportation. So it shows you a pretty good route. So those are the two apps I recommend for navigating in terms of using the public transportation systems within European cities. This last app, I'm going to tell you, it is going to come in handy. This app is food related. It's called The Fork. So the fork that you eat with, The Fork. Listen, on that app, there are like restaurants, but you get to like book restaurants, but then you also get to see restaurants that have discounts or deals, etc. Let's say you are in France and you're looking for something to eat, and just as you would go on Google Maps, search for restaurants, see what's around, look at the reviews, on The Fork, you get to see all the restaurants that are around you, and you get to see, okay, this restaurant has 50% off, this restaurant has 30% off. So sometimes you get to do like fine dining at a lower price. We've done that several times. So you book your restaurant on The Fork and you receive like a discount. So when you're traveling, that kind of comes in handy. Definitely recommend The Fork. But anyway, these were the top apps that I recommend for traveling in Europe. If there's another app that you would have used or an app that you saw that you recommend, comment down below what app it was and why you recommend it. I really hope that this video was informative and helps you on your traveling journey. So until next time, happy travels.